So friends, we are into risk conscious operations management of complex engineering system, this course, and then we are studying the human factor. Okay, it's very critical to the system, and then introduction. Now I think probably all of you would have got what we are talking about, and then human reliability model. So you can say in the next 3 lectures, the background for human reliability model will be there, or rather next 2 lectures I would say. Fourth lecture and fifth lecture will be directly start modeling the human factor. We'll create the human factor model. So let us see what we are talking about. In CQB approach, there was a attempt to get the knowledge on human and its behavior from all the sources. Okay, so somewhere this knowledge was used as postulation, somewhere looking into the present technology and the ancient technology, make them as an assumption because there is uncertainty associated with that, and then whatever knowledge that in scientific domain, purely scientific domain that is available, take the input from there also and try to create, because in human reliability methodology till my knowledge goes, thus we are using symptoms of human and their behavior. We do not have any human model per se actually. I mean, even if it is there, it would be something elementary, line diagram and all that. But when we talk about the human reliability, then we should have the human model also, and that is one of the major genesis of CQB method. That is, you can see right from the definition itself, consciousness, cognition and conscience. So and then nowadays it's not only safety, it is security is also important. So the conscience element has come into the picture. So that's how we say 3C, and they are operating at the level of brain. Though the ancient knowledge says we are having the sea of ocean of consciousness, and we are part of it. But then the job becomes simple when we talk. It is operating at the level of brain, and at the most it is connecting our body also. So right, you can see here the knowledge from Bhagavad Gita, Vedic knowledge, because in those eras the experiments were performed on body itself and their observation, and those insights are available. So a common sense will say that those must be valuable insights, and in whatever form we can use it, it will add to our building of a human factor model, that is human model itself. Okay, and based on we take the response or action or cognitive processes, then it becomes the factor consideration actually. And then what we see is that consciousness, even in CQB, it has been considered as fundamental to human existence, because the consciousness level determine the performance of a person. If the consciousness is in the lowest region, raising the hand itself will be a problem. Opening the eyes itself will be a problem. But when you get, like it is in neurosciences or in medical sciences, so we are connecting to the drawing insight from the medical sciences. So that is when we talk about the lowest level of consciousness. But when it comes to the operation ecosystem, the cognition comes into the play. But then the how cognition work, the consciousness is the source of operation of cognition. So what we say here, that it's like we can draw an analogy, like whatever voltage is there for an electronic board, it is consciousness is there for cognition. That kind of postulations we use here in CQB method. So what we come to a conclusion, a minimum level of consciousness is required. So what is expected during plant ecosystem, and it should be there around the same, so that cognition works all. Then human interaction with the outside world, it happens through the five stimulus or five sense bases: eyes, ear, skin, and so, and mind, of course. I have added sixth as mind because while thinking itself, we can create our own models, and most of the knowledge based tasks, they happen at the level of mind. So it also mimics like a sense only. So in the CQB model, we have six senses. Mind is one of the sense, that goes. Now, very important observation: random failure of human is a component of safety risk. Okay, and the security risk, it has got a connotation of right or wrong, conscience, and that is where we have the security risk. So without conscience, we are not creating a holistic model of the human. So safety risk and security risk. Safety risk is cognition and error, and probably cognition plays a predominant role over there. And in conscience, it is the other factor: ethics, moral, all those things they play, integrity, all those things they play a role. So these are the postulates or assumption. You might call assumption, you might call, but this knowledge is very important. And then interpretation of insight that we have drawn based on the literature review and all that. Even though consciousness is all pervading, in CQB it is considered fundamental. Of course, as I mentioned there, consciousness is a bias for for the brain or cognition. Consciousness is like even without naming consciousness, we have been using awareness, focus, attention, but we were putting them into one basket, and mistakes, and error and all those things, five or six attributes are there. But now in CQB, our approach is to go to the root of the problem, why the human did the mistake. It is a tall order, but then it is not impossible also. So whatever treatment, the starting point is whatever treatment the hardware component get, which are simpler compared to human, let's try this on this, and then develop further methods, model, knowledge, and experiments, so that we can go on converging and have a actual human reference model. To that extent, a good amount of work has already been done, and we have to further go. This is basically a research and development topic. That's why the simulator which was built at BRC, one of the objective was to perform R&D also. Okay. Consideration of random human failure involving cognition, action, form of the safety risk modeling. Conscience is there actually, is there for security thing. Now, interpretation inside, again we see here that conscience has got right or wrong, capability to see right and wrong. Like ethics, moral, they all have, they are sort of perception of certain human knowledge. But then always there is a fight going on between right and wrong. So that reflects into it. So then like I was talking about, I have taken 6 sense bases: ear, eye, nose, ear for vision, ear for auditory, nose for smell, and tongue for taste, and of course communication, skin for touch, feeling, and mind generate the 6 stimuli. So these are the stimuli which are there. And now if we talk about, so we have talked about conscious cognition. Now after forming, we have to take action also in the plant areas. So there are some fundamental questions, and there are some knowledge that is, again, as I was telling you, derived from the books, ancient books, which we can use it for clarifying or having a better understanding of action component. At least for this slide, we have this definition. Now, it was a question: what is action? Is it that physical action is always action? No. It could be at the cognitive level also. That means action should not be something which is we are reflecting outside through our action organs like hand, feet, and all. So there is a cognition component. Okay. Now, at the level of mind or intelligence, we are diagnosing. That is also action. We are thinking. In fact, actions, physical actions, are based on cognitive decisions. Okay. So this is cognitive is more powerful action than the physical action that we take in the reflect in the outside world. And because we think about good, bad and everything, and all the three consciousness, cognition and conscience, they come into the play at the level of brain actually. So, but the apart from this, the question is what is the quality of action? What is the quality of action? Have we defined it any time in terms of developing a model? So, okay, some knowledge which was there in the Bhagavad Gita, and of course, the first component is resolution. You take a decision, adhisthana. Actually, the Sanskrit word is adhisthana. So, you resolute, you take decision to take an action and follow up. You know, the rules like, you know, practices that we have, then perform the performer who is taking action is called karta. That means there should be some entity who is performer. Okay, so that is called karta, performer. That is involving and mind, person, agency responsible for the action. It could be agency also. It could be nation also. So who is performer? That is important. So we have discussed additional resolution. Then who is taking that action and sense basis. Now, when we come to the individual, we have sense basis to coordinate, to interact with the outside world, and then we have endeavor or purpose. Very important. Why I am doing this? So why I am doing this? This question comes from here. The purpose of the action good is good. Up to good domain is okay, but then there is a super conscience. Like I told you, that which is related to security aspects and all that. Final check, regulation for right or wrong. So action has got a 5 element, and then only action occurs. Okay. So now we have defined in CQB what is going to be the action actually. Okay. Now this is the model. What I am talking about in this lecture is because this was developed in 2018, some more modifications were done to this model and various definitions also. So I called it enhanced model of CQB. Okay. So let us see what are the basic elements of the this model. Okay. We are having a consciousness around us. Okay. Then it drives the cognition, and of course it drives the sense basis, which becomes the product becomes the stimulus. So we have internal sense basis, which are eye, ear, nose, mouth, body and brain. In the literature we have 5 sense bases, but keeping in view the requirement of our CQB or human factor development, I have added brain here, so we have 6 stimuli. And then conscious seeing. Sometimes we all would have noticed we are looking at something, but we are not getting anything because our mind is somewhere else. So conscious seeing. We are hearing something, but partly or fully. So listening is very, very important. So conscious listening, nose, conscious smelling, mouth. So stimulus become the realities or our world only after we have right stimulus over here. Otherwise, eyes are seeing something and we are looking something, thinking something. Nothing goes to our, gets onto our consciousness. Okay, or it becomes the secondary element in the brain. Okay, so now once we have the stimulus, then we have perception. What we see here, we are in a market, we are seeing something, we are talking to our friend, then we form a perception. Some exchange of knowledge has taken place, and perception leads to formation. Formation means a sort of a decision where there is a final check, that is conscience, whether the action should be performed or not. Accordingly, this action is decided, and that reflects in the outside world again. And then outside world, once you reflect, then again there is a formation because new reality is there. If those actions are reflected in the outside world in real time, then there is a formation, and that gets on to the our consciousness, again cognition, and then this loop follows. So, I would say this is the basic model or basic approach for our CQB method, and as I mentioned, three C's are consciousness, which is considered fundamental, cognition playing out at the level of brain, and conscious, which is a decision that we take after analyzing a full situation. And this, without this factor, we are not able to talk about the security risk. So, it was required, cognition was required for random failure, and and its modeling and random failures, and then action response are there reflected in the outside world, and formation again takes place. So, this is the model for CQB. Now, my major argument, unless until we analyze human body like we do a hardware component like a diesel generator, we do not say diesel generator and things are over, and then we start doing analysis based on the symptom only. We talk in terms of starting system, fuel oil system, lube oil system, so many things. So, when we discuss with the physiology or anatomy of diesel generator, why not for human? Maybe at the outset it is we say that it is a complex system, but again nuclear plants are complex system, but we have streamlined the process system, chemical system, aviation system, they are all complex system, but we have done something so that they behave the way human wants them. So, why not we have a human model also. So, anatomy of and whatever discussions are there, I limit it to human factor modeling. There could be many more ifs and buts, we can do it, we can expand our model, but as of now these are our considerations. So, human brain comprises of 100 billions of neurons, and these billions of neurons, they may be active or they may be in their lowest dormant stage, but they are live, okay. And so, you can understand how complex is the structure of the brain, okay. Now, what is neuron? That question comes. Neurons has a nucleus, then it has got dendrites, and then synapse, okay, and then axons over here. So, the consciousness, the modern research says that the consciousness generates here in microtubules. So, the bottom line is microtubules are driving this thing, which is there in the nucleus or neuron itself. So, one stage lower, we thought earlier it is a neuron, now in neuron it is microtubules, they are generating the consciousness, or they are so that is one thing. Now, once we talk about the brain has got two parts mainly. One is the cortex area, central nervous system, and then we have a peripheral nervous system, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Okay. So, here you have brain, then central nervous system, the spinal cord is peripheral nervous system, and these are the peripheral nerves actually. Okay. So, and communication occurs right all through the body. So, we can say it is in our interest of creating the model that we will say that consciousness is there all through our body. I mean, this could be an assumption, postulation, but without this consideration, our human factor model will not be complete. Okay. Then the cell body is some details about the cell body is there. It is a chemical and characterization we are doing, like a terminal chamber for receiving the input signal from dendrites, and after completing the processing department, weights type of processes pass on to the connection. So, one neuron connects to, I think, another 10 neurons or more neurons, and this creates a network, and this is basically a cognitive processing, and wherever the cognitive processes are occurring, we see first symptom is like when we take the image of the brain, we get some area which are more illuminated than the other areas. So, that shows the activation of neurons in those places actually. Then neuron interconnection, neuron interconnection, the voltage and chemical transmitter communicate. So all these processes are electrical and chemical connect when they are through the dendrite, okay, and the dendrite connected through the synapses to other neurons. Nervous system anyway can be broadly divided into two parts: central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system has two major components: brain and the spinal cord. So this is basically the minimum that we have considered in CQB. In fact, one should know also the artificial neural network. It has got its genesis from these neurons, and that's how we are able to do a lot of intelligent processing in the artificial neural network. Of course, this is beyond the topic, but it is important to point out the operation of neurons in the brain and operation of neuron in the neural network. There is not exactly same, but they have analogy to understand. Now, we will come to the second level, which part of the brain does which operation, you know. So like frontal lobe is responsible for memory. All intelligent work is done by the frontal lobe, and frontal lobe is what? Here to here, okay. So this area of the brain, wherever we are talking prefrontal cortex, and then from here onwards it is the motor movement and all are taken care of. Central sulcus is it divides the brain, that is the frontal lobe, into parietal lobe. This lobe is called parietal lobe. So there are two parts, if you see from here to here, the parietal lobe, and then we have a temporal lobe where our ears are located, is called temporal lobe, and the area in between is called primary visual cortex, this one, okay, and the occipital lobe. This area is called occipital lobe, where all the vision functions are performed over here. This medulla is like a switch which connects the brain with the body, and rest have their own names, and then parietal lobe is responsible for sensation, touch and all that. So you can see here all the because these are related to human behavior, human performance. So we are talking about it. Then occipital lobe, vision, okay, is responsible for visual function, while the auditory function is performed by the so auditory functions are performed by the temporal lobe, okay. Central sulcus, the area interfacing with the frontal lobe and parietal lobe is referred as central sulcus. The adjoining area in the front of the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, referred as primary motor cortex. So we have primary motor cortex here, and then we have a somatic cortex, okay, for other sensory functions which we have. And this is occipital lobe. Occipital lobe has got a function of balancing our body, okay, various parameters they come, and we get to know how our body is while walking, while moving our hands and all. So those functions, so yeah, now we can say that this is a control room for all our body, okay, the way we had this initially actually. And this medulla is very important thing. It is basically more of physiology of our body. It maintains actually, performs some of the autonomous functions like regulating the blood pressure, heart rate and everything. So medulla is very important. So this region is maintaining our, and these are the regions they give signal our body whether we are in normal state or we are deviating, because all these parameters, they are very important for regulating blood pressure, heart rate, breathing, action part of the brain, and stem cells and messages from brain to the spinal cord. So this is a relay center also. From pons and this, they are relay center to the body. The two more observations: coordination of muscle, body and balance and mind functions are performed by cerebellum. Yeah, this is a cerebellum. I think I have mentioned here that this point, and then coordination of muscular activities, body balance and functions are performed by, this we have said. The pons are also facilitate balancing function of the body, sleep and arousal state. So pons I have not shown here. This is something here actually. Okay. Next slide we will see it. So we have understood the various brain areas. They are involved in various functions. Now we translate them into our plant activities. Okay. So, we have the procedural knowledge quotient. In plants, we have either you know procedural knowledge coming from books and all, and then other things actually. We'll come to decision and logical reasoning. These parts of our form parts of our activities. And of course, when we take charge, then decision making becomes our one of the important thing. And so, role of cognitive stress. The cognitive stress adversely impact cognitive capabilities, particularly during the higher stress. Example given, emergency might during emergency it might adversely impact cognitive capabilities. So, role of cognition is the frontal lobe. I have we seen, I think all these things we have discussed, where decisions are made and problem solving. And so, one is procedural component, otherwise one is declarative component. Declarative component is the situation as it is, and that one has to, so there are two parts, procedural part and declarative part. These two have to be ensured during training, so that we know documented knowledge, we know what is there in the light, real time plant is there, and that's how we consolidate our knowledge and draw the inference. So, we had now we have gone one stage ahead in this, that we are trying to connect to what CQB does. Introduction of CQB model for human reliability, postulates of CQB. There are some assumptions, there are some postulations. Consciousness is fundamental to human existence, we know that, but consciousness is fundamental to human, that is part of our CQB modeling. So, that extension we have used as a postulation, not as an assumption. Major elements of action and their interpretation, we have understood that how it can be synthesized when we do any root cause analysis or any modeling. Anatomy of human cognition we have discussed. Higher level of reliability consideration in CQB we are trying to connect, and we will discuss in the next lecture.